Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India organized the ICAI International Conference in Mumbai recently. This was a platform to discuss the convergence and sustainability of the accountancy profession in the digital era. The two-day event brought together leading professionals, experts and members of ICAI from across India to deliberate the changing role of CA professionals in the disruptive era. The opening address by the president of ICAI stressed upon varied factors affecting the profession.
As you know, this last couple of years has been the year of change. The year where GST has come in, India's implementation has come in, accounting reforms happening in the government, insolvency laws coming in. Coming to GST, as you know, GST has been a game changer for the country. I'll not speak only thing, I'll speak what the institute has done. We've done more than 3,000 programs from January. We have gone 60 batches of the certificate course. 250,000 participants, more than that, have participated on the GST course. A huge amount of knowledge dissemination. 131 suggestions of the institute have been accepted and more to go. And we are working more along with the government to see that how do we smoothen the GST implementation in the country. Then coming to Ind AS, as you know, 1st April 16, we started with Ind AS for the large companies. About 600 companies converged. 1st April 17, about 10,000 companies are going to converge with Ind AS. Possibly, in my view, this will be one of the biggest convergence into IFRS standards, I think, world over. We are bringing the world to India, as we told, the international valuation standards we are bringing in, the knowledge dissemination from ICAW. We are hosting various international forums, whether it is AICPA, the Public Interest Oversight Board, the IFRS Foundation, the Emerging Economics Group of IASB, the Ethical Standards Board, CA Worldwide, just to see that we are a global world. How do we become one, and how do we bring the Indian view on the world table? So all these, last 1 or 2 years, this has been happening, and I would want to conclude that we, our council, all of us, we want to be a major contributor to the thought leadership in accounting, in taxation, in finance areas of the world, and I seek your support thereof. Thank you. Wish you very happy learning for the next 2 days. Thank you.
The President of International Federation of Accountants highlighted the need for a global integration.
The world's small and medium-sized businesses, advised by professional accountants working in small and medium-sized practices, are critically important to the global economy and, of course, India's. These accountants are also IFAC's largest constituency, served by our Small and Medium Practice Committee, comprising 18 volunteer members from around the world. What is clear is that competition is not going to go away. It's likely to get fiercer. It's equally clear technology is here to stay and will open up new opportunities for every accountant, no matter how large their practice or place of work. Attracting the best and the brightest means we must just not tell our story in terms of developing sustainable systems. We must demonstrate it. Key will be learning what attracts talent today and what retains it tomorrow. India's experience could be quite different from other nations. Corporate social responsibility is part of the nation's DNA, and India is home to some of the world's technology greats. India has much to offer young people seeking a great career, and accountancy must be one of the top choices. So finally, I want to say that how fortunate you are to belong to the second largest member body in the world. You absolutely have an eye to the future. We've seen that this morning. You have a tangible program for technology. Your digital piece is outstanding. A tangible program for women. And I think this is a real case study for the entire globe to have a look at what's being done in here. And those publications I look forward to having a flick through. So on behalf of IFAC, can I thank all of you for everything you've done for us in the last 40 years, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you very much, everyone.
This is the largest congregation of accountable accountants standing for excellence and for public interest. We are team of accountable accountants, and the difference between professional and non-professionals is ethics. Ethics and public interest. We stand for public interest, and we don't work for a win-win situation, but for a win-win and win situation, and third win belongs to public interest. We are guardians of public interest and continue to perform our duty very well. Nation building and public interest inspires us, and we are recognized in this nation as partners in nation building, and we are continuing to do that job very well. We have been working in digital era, and digital era is not new to this accounting profession. This accounting profession has been spearheading the technological advancements in this nation and across the globe. Today we are talking about mobility, big data, blockchains, we are talking of robotics, artificial intelligence. Those are not difficult, but yes, sophisticated, and it needs a lot of learning, and this is the most opportune moment, platform to do all those things. We are in the presence of galaxy of stars, in the presence of thought leaders from all across the globe to take us through this journey of perfection and journey of evolution, the journey of what I can say, excellence.
The ICAI International Conference 2017 invited prominent dignitaries with years of experience in the industry to highlight the importance of the profession.
With the speed of unique identity number combined with massive formalization of financial savings, friends, your role in the future as an embodiment of trust in the context of capital markets is the key to the success of our markets. And here, let us think about this whole water of the ocean called Indian financial savings. I'm not even talking about global financial savings, which are increasing. If this massive water is coming into a narrow funnel called listed companies, and let us give or take that this number is, say, 5,000 active companies. So all the water of the ocean is going narrowly into these 5,000 companies. Now, when this water gushes into these 5,000 companies, it essentially increases the responsibility of all fiduciaries who are connected with these 5,000 companies. And how is it that we will take care of this fiduciary responsibility to ensure that monies of savers across the length and breadth of India, which is increasing by the day, is coming into this narrow funnel of only 5,000 companies. This bridge of 5,000 companies is something which needs to be dramatically transformed by the profession to see that, number one, 5,000 number goes higher and continues to grow, so more and more companies have the pleasure of really going into listing their companies. And second is we nurture trust. I would say corporate India also needs to recognize that, number one, the accountant has a fiduciary responsibility. Don't put disproportionate pressure. And number two, you, the accountant, will do your dharma and do what is right and not what is convenient.
Prominent investor and chartered accountant Rakesh Jhunjhunwala took to the stage and laid out the basic do's and don'ts of investing in the capital markets.
I will take up from a sentence that you mentioned to a youngster who was aspiring to become an investor. He asked you that what formal education should I take up to become a successful investor. And you mentioned that I would suggest CA better than MBA and also a CFA. So can you elaborate on that?
World of investment is quite complicated. It's not as easy as people seem. Ki mere friend ke father-in-law ka company hai and he is doing very well, and there's a lot of rationality and thought and learning which goes behind good investments. I think chartered accountancy first, when at a young age, say 18, 19 or 20, you go and work in an office for 3 years. More than anything, it disciplines you as a human. You learn to keep timing, you learn to do hard work, right? You learn how to behave with people. I think, and also it gives you a very good grounding in subjects like, costing, accounting, taxation, law. I think which is all very important in taking investment decisions.
Now, after all that, you never thought of practicing. So it's the education that is interesting, or it's the profession that's interesting? Because you never went into the practice at all.
So one of the things that I consider doing in life is becoming a tax counsel. And I felt that there will be a lot more opportunity and opening up of the Indian economy and the capital markets. So I never in my life took the certificate of practice. I remember the year I graduated, the tax audit had come. So I signed 20 tax audits and take 1 lakh of rupees. I said, better I'll print Tata Steel shares and sell them, no?
What would you recommend to aspiring investors in this audience if they have a full-time profession and they have to invest?
Well, my hair are grey, but unfortunately investing is a profession which, like whiskey, gets better by age. Because you can learn, it cannot be taught, it has to be learned. And the process to learn is a journey, not a destination. So you have to, to learn investing means I never learn it completely. I have much learned, but much unlearned. So my recommendation for people who are not full-time investors, first is an attitude. What is advantages, right? And don't bloody think this is a race course. And Warren Buffett said, the first principle is your money should be safe. And the second principle is don't forget the first principle.
Different formats of discussions took place at the conference, wherein several topics of financial growth and accountancy were conferred upon.
All models have their respective pluses and minuses. We have the example of Chinese meltdown and the Asian financial crisis of late 90s, which in part resulted from heavy investment in infrastructure creation, which ceases to provide positive returns beyond a point of time. Or too much of reliance on the export growth has also led to the disasters which we have seen across the globe. Perhaps we might want an equitable mix of all, growth led by increase in domestic consumption, investment in infrastructure and manufacturing.
Disruption being the only constant in the evolving digitized world, eminent professionals in the accounting industry spoke on the relevance of accounting in a disruptive era.
So when we deal with the accounting in disruptive era, I personally feel that this is an era in which maximum disruption has come in. Not only because of the accounting standards by way of IFRS, because 20 years back or 25 years back, nobody could have thought of the complexities in the accounting transactions that we have today. None of us thought service concession or agreements, basically.
Speakers highlighted several facts on the goods and services tax, of how the tax could ensure competitiveness, transparency and growth.
We in the government feel that we should be responsive, and therefore whenever any problems are informed, we should take care of those problems at the earliest without delaying much time. So therefore in each council meeting, the 23 council meetings have been held so far, and in between we have a delegated kind of thing called GST Implementation Committee, which takes care of the day-to-day situations when the council is not sitting. So the call which has been taken by us is that we should be responsive, and wherever problems are informed, we should resolve those problems.
Discussions on strengthening public finance through accrual accounting also took place.
The Indian government, by way of provisions of the Constitution, has prescribed a very gradual basis to develop government accounting system with an accompanying body of rules. There is a kind of commitment in the government to moving towards better disclosures, an accrual system, and therefore they have been on this exercise, since a very long time. And from our experience, what we get to learn from other countries is that budget and accounting systems are totally closely linked to each other, And therefore, it is desirable to have the kind of concomitant reforms in the budget and accounting systems if the government was seeking the full benefit of the reform in its account system.
Accounting and economics are not really at odds in any way on this. In accounting, we take accrual information for granted. But in principle, so do economists. If you look at the national income statistics, for example, whether it's the European system of accounts or the system of national accounts, economic statisticians also run accrual-based information.
Past president of ICAI highlighted the need to empower small and medium practitioners for healthy growth of accountancy profession.
Asia is a region which is said to be the region where there is going to be the entire set of activities to happen in the 21st century, and Asia is supposed to be dominating the 21st century. And given this background, even in Asia we have a large number of SMEs being serviced by SMPs. So this thought process on building up the competencies of SMPs to service better the SME segment is going to help and strengthen the economy to a very large extent.
SMEs are also extremely important for each country's economy. Without SMEs, in fact, I personally believe that the capital market would mean nothing.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India successfully gathered influential leaders from different fields of finance, business and accounting. Participants shared their insights on the impact of digitization and blockchain technology.
The impact of digitization on accounting profession will be much faster than what any of us can even think of. Probably it's looking like it's very slow, but we would have that one big moment or one big tsunami wave which will transform the profession.
You will have access to huge amount of analytics and data, and machines will learn everything. Artificial intelligence is moving much faster than you can think.
When someone tries to speak to you about blockchain technology, it can sound extremely jazzy. It can range from philosophical conversation to extremely advanced technological speak. But at its core, it's nothing but distributed ledger technology.
And we've heard throughout the conference about the impact of technology, and that continues to grow exponentially, and it impacts our profession in so many ways. And this is really true and comes home for all of us when you start to consider the collection, the processing, the management, the analysis, the security, the privacy, the assurance of ever-increasing amounts of data.
The event concluded with a final panel discussion where eminent professionals shared their experience in dealing with changing landscape of the capital markets.
Navneet, great run for the domestic institutional investors. They are the ones who are really driving the capital markets, the IPO market in the country, and giving huge exits to the foreign investors also this time around. How do you keep your sanity at a time when there's just so much paper coming in the market, there's so much euphoria? How do you make the correct investment decisions at this point?
Thanks, Nisha. In fact, the total amount raised this year through IPOs, and if you add QIPs and offer for sale, then I think it goes to almost 1,30,000 crores. So we are creating another record of sort. We have come a very long way today, and the quality of IPOs that are there are significantly different. So regulations have improved very significantly. The scrutiny, whether it's the media, whether it's the public scrutiny, have improved significantly. The accounting and disclosure standards have improved very significantly. That's the main reason I feel very positive that over a longer period, capital markets have a long way to go.
So Gautam, you've been around for so long. You have several investments in listed companies as well. How big a role is that transparency, standardization, is that playing in formulating the investment decisions for an investor who is coming from a foreign land?
There has been some improvement in the levels of transparency and governance. It's percolating down to the mid-market as well. But the way we think about it as foreign investors is it's not enough for the numbers to give a true picture. What is more important is what's going to be the quality of earnings and the sustainability of the earning stream over time, which is hard to decipher by purely looking at the audited financials.
The ICAI International Conference of 2017 gave an opportunity to chartered accountants from across the country to learn new trends from Star Awards. The event ended on a high note with participants enriched with knowledge that can be implemented in their practice.